squared. So now at least we appreciate when we put in these terms that your cost of sales is your cost of goods sold plus your trading expense. You can be asked this objective test or even the theory, the written part, right? Explain cost of sales. Just tell us that it is the summation of or the addition of cost of goods sold and trading expense. But what is cost of goods sold? Cost of goods sold is cost of goods available for sale, less closing stock. And that is the part where I use the shoe scenarios to explain to you, right? But then what is the cost of goods available? It is your opening stock plus net purchases. So I think these things are beginning to make sense to you now. Your net purchases, however, is also your total purchases minus return outwards plus carriage inwards. Okay, now let's look at the format. So professors, this is the format. The first thing you have to think about is the heading. And the heading is trading account for the year ended. Why that for the year ended? Because we normally prepare the trading account for 1 year. Remember, final accounts are prepared at the end of the year. Okay, so you always put the date where the year is ending. Note, some businesses have their own accounting date. Some begin January and end in December, as in the normal calendar, right? Others can begin June of this year and end the following year somewhere May, right? So it can vary depending on what the business has chosen as its accounting period. Okay, so it's not always you are going to see 1st January to 31st December. There are times you see 1st April to 30th March, or you see 1st July to 30th June. These are the 3 dates that normally appear. So professors, you remember that the trading account is to calculate gross profit. And before we came here, you appreciated that the first thing you have to think about is your net sales, right? The net sales revenue. How much have you sold? And so that's the first thing on the format. Getting your net sales. And that is here. Very simple, right? Your total sales less return inwards. Your total sales minus your return inwards. And so the understanding is already there. Your total sales subtract any return inwards, right? But on the format, this is how you arrange it. The format has 3 amount columns, 3. Okay. You put the total sales at the second. You less the return inwards there, and the final figure, which is your net sales, goes to the third format. Please listen carefully. You put your total sales here, you less return inwards, and put your net sales here. Some students, however, do this. They put the total sales at the last column and also less the return inwards there, right, and get their net sales. It will not be penalized, but please try and do what is expected of you. Okay, great. So that's how you get your net sales. Very simple. Now, the other question is, what if the question has no return inwards? You sold the goods and all your customers were okay, none of them returned it. If there is no return inwards, then there is no need for you to write in the format less return inwards. So at that point, all that you do is put your total sales figure straight under the third column. And this is what I mean. Then you save yourself this stress of less return inwards and get the net sales, right? So your sales will go straight under the third column like this. In cases where there are no return inwards. So if the question does not have return inwards, don't run back to me or the examiner and say, you didn't bring return inwards, because there's a possibility that you sell goods and you will not have any return inwards. Okay, so that is for your information. The second bit, which is the cost of sales, right? The cost of sales, which we have gone through, will start from the opening stock through to trading expense or wages. Okay, so look at it. The first thing you put there is your opening stock. Put the opening stock at the second column or middle column. Now you remember from the calculation that when you bring your opening stock, right? When you bring your opening stock, which I've just shown you on the format, you add your net purchases. So look at the format. This is my opening stock. I have to go and search for my net purchases and come and add it to it. Now the net purchases is calculated here. Okay. So you put your total purchases at the first column. Let me bring this currency sign here. You put your total purchase there, less the return outwards, and add the carriage inwards. So that is what we have done here. So after those adjustments, you now get the net purchases and look at where the net purchases is. Look at where I'm tracing it, right? Comes under the opening stock to add to it. And when you add the net purchase to the opening stock, you get the cost of goods available for sale. Okay, the stock that was already there plus what you bought during the year, your purchases, gives you the goods available in your shop to sell. Then now you go on to list the closing stock. So let me give professors time to observe this. Okay, so I think professors have taken time to look at it, right? So your opening stock is there. You come and assess your net purchases there, add it to get the cost of goods available. Now the question again is there a possibility that in some questions there will be no opening stock? Yes. So in that case, this opening stock line will not be it shouldn't be on your paper at all. Some students write it and put dash there. Well, it will not be penalized, but I'm recommending that don't even write it if the thing is not in the question. But let me be quick to also say that most of the questions you have to solve would have opening stock, right? But if it so happens that there's no opening stock, don't say the question is wrong. The same way, you may not have carriage inwards or return outwards. So if there are no return outwards and carriage inwards, there's no need for you to come and do this at the first column. Straight away, you put the purchases under your opening stock. I'm doing this because some students get confused with this format, especially when they cannot find some items. So I'm saying that there's a possibility that some questions you would not have carriage inwards or return outwards. In that case, your purchases should go straight under the opening stock. You add and then get your cost of goods available for sale. So let me demonstrate that too. In such a scenario, this is how your format is going to look like. Right after your opening stock, you add your purchases, right? So there will be nothing like net purchases, okay? So you add your purchases and you get your cost of goods available for sale. So that is the first scenario. There's also a possibility that you will get carriage inwards, but there is no return outwards. or you get return outwards, there's no carriage inwards. If it happens, just so you bring your purchases and you less the return outwards, then you get your net purchases. Or you add your carriage inwards and get your net purchases. Okay, so this net purchases thing becomes necessary when there is carriage inwards or return outwards, or both of them. If both of them are not there, your purchases will straight away come to add to your opening stock. And I hope my professors have gotten the message I'm preaching. Okay. If there are questions, please ask. Let me see something in the chat. Austin says, okay, so, okay, sir, thank you. I now see it's brightly. The format has 3 parameters in there. So before you introduce us to the format right away, you broke them down so we can better appreciate it. And now see and appreciate their respective formats because they will be needed. Austin, I'm confused though. Well, listen, if you check your textbooks, some of them have combined the 2 accounts, which is trading profit and loss account together. No, they are 2 different accounts. Admittedly, they can be combined into trading profit and loss account. But it's important for you to know the trading, know the profit and loss, so that when you are combining them, you will not find difficulties. Okay. So I think that's what the... Okay. So Austin, I don't know if that's what you were referring to. Prof. Austin.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Now, regarding you professors, okay, I'll give you the technique as to how to get this format very simple, okay? So let's finish it up. Now, when you get your cost of goods available, you less the closing stock. And after lessing the closing stock, you get this cost of goods sold. So you see that continues right under the second format. Then finally, you add your trading expense, which I've told you that wages is one of the common trading expense. So when you see wages, you come and add on. And if you add that trading expense to your cost of goods sold, you now get the cost of sales, which comes under the net sales, okay, at the third column. So you see, all that we're trying to do is to less cost of sales from net sales. So you see, we get our net sales lying at the third column, waiting for the cost of sales. But then we had to go through these before we can get the cost of sales. So when you compare the cost of sales to the net sales, that's where you get the gross profit or gross loss. Now, it is gross profit when the net sales is more than the cost of sales. And it is a loss, or you get a negative figure if the sales is lesser. Now, please, in accounting, when you get a negative figure, don't write negative, say, for example, negative 2,000. No. What you can do is either you write gross loss and put the figure. Please listen to these things because some students at the beginning of this would make mistake. So gross loss, you just write gross loss and put the figure like this, 2,000. Okay, that's one way of presenting it. Some also go this way, gross profits. Gross profits. Okay. But then if you say gross profit and the figure is negative, you don't write it like this, negative. You put it in bracket. In accounting, we put our negative figures in brackets, or they call it parentheses or whatever. Yes. So this is how you show. So it's either you say gross profit and put it in bracket to show that the profit is negative, right? Please, it will be accounting tautology if you write gross loss and still put the figure in the bracket. No. So when you go gross loss, you remove the bracket. When you go gross profit, you put it in the bracket to show negative. I think that is well stated. So professors, this is the format for the trading account. And the next thing we have to do is to pick an illustration and see how we can also prepare the trading account. Now, for the purposes of you learning it, divide it into two. The first session is where you calculate your net sales, okay, which is very simple, just 3 steps and you are done. The second step is calculating the cost of sales, right? Even that you can break it into two. Look at where you get to the cost of goods available. So take your time, break it down, and learn it in bits so that you can be comfortable, because professors during exams will not give you the format as a template for you to use. It should all come from your. The more reason why, if you understand that, okay, in preparing my trading account, I need my net sales. What is net sales? Sales less retaining was. After that, I need my cost of sales. What is my cost of sales? I would have to begin with opening stock, add the net purchases, but net purchases is purchases less return out was, add carrying was. Okay, so you need to appreciate and understand these things. Please, before we take an illustration, any question? Any question? Any question? Yeah, Josephine, go ahead.
Sir, please, can you repeat what you said about the net sales? You were saying something like when it's more than the one on top of the gross loss,
Okay,
it will be positive.
Okay. So let me reverse and put in there. So it's either you get a gross profit, which is a positive figure, or you get a loss, which is a negative figure, right? Now, in fact, you remember when you were in GHS, at what point do you get profit? It's when your selling price is more than the cost price, right? And you get a loss when your selling price is lesser than the cost price. So the same thing here. Your selling price, like I've entered, is your net sales, right? So if your net sales is greater or more than your cost price, which is the cost of sales, then you are going to get a profit, a gross profit. If it's the opposite, then you get what? A loss. So let me put in figures. Let's assume, for example, that we had a cost of sales of, say, 15,000. Okay, and then we had our net sales to be 20,000. In that case, when you subtract, you are going to get how much? 5,000, right? So this 5,000, what is it? Is it a profit or loss? Josephine.
Sir, please, it's a profit.
Thank you. So then you write gross profit and the figure will be there, 5,000, like that. What if the sales was 20,000, but the cost of sales was 22,000? Okay. So is this minus this? At this point, we are going to get a negative figure, which is negative 2,000. So I'm saying if you have written gross profit and the figure is negative, you put it in a bracket like this, 2,000. So it's gross profit, but it's a negative figure. If you don't like this way, then you can say it's a loss because you actually had a loss, right? So that will be gross loss. And you leave the figure there like that without any bracket or parenthesis. Okay. That's what I meant. So I hope it's settled. Please, further question, any further questions, any further questions? Okay, so let's solve the first illustration. The following relates to France Anderlecht Trading Limited for the year ended 31st December 2023. So you have your sales 600,000, purchases 450,000, stock at 1st January 2023 180,000. Return out was, returning was wages, stock at 31st December 2023. You are required to prepare the trading account. Professors, let's all do this together. And I'll give you one here to try for me. So that one is waiting, it's resting, it's briefing from. Or we should do that one so that, no, let's do this one so that I'll give you that one to do. So let me Let me copy the format into a different. Okay, so let me keep the format here while we solve the question, because then we can do the viewing side by side. So where's this question? Okay, professors, I don't know if you can see it well, or let me avoid this side by side presentation that we can see the thing in full. But if you can see well, let me know so that. Okay, I think I have to use the full screen so professors will not be confused. So professors, we have the question and the requirement is simple. Prepare the trading account. So we are going to write the heading. That's the first thing, to trading account for the year ended. We're told the year ended 31st December 2023. So you do that beautifully, the heading, and underline it. Some of the students don't like writing this heading. As a matter of fact, the first thing you even have to do is to write the name of the business, like I've told you, in the books of Frank Dalex. Okay. So let me underline this. Let me center it some more. Now, what I took you through is the vertical presentation. We also have the horizontal presentation, but that one is gradually getting out of the system. All companies are adopting the vertical. So I always teach the vertical and don't stress myself with the horizontal. But along the line, I'll push it in so that you can appreciate. So professors, you reckon that the first, after the heading, you have to show your currency, right? So this is dollars. So first column, second, and then third, like that. Now, if you check the format, the first thing you have to put in there is your sales, right? So go to the question and pick your sales figure. And what is our sales figure here? 600,000. So sales, 600,000. But before you write the figure, always satisfy yourself that there is no returning was or there is, so that at least you know where to write your figures. So this question had returning was. So we have to less the returning was of 150,000. So that means the sales should be written at the middle column. So 600,000. Then we less return inwards, which is 150,000. Professors, if you do this subtraction, you come at a figure of how much?
450,000.
Okay, good. 450,000. So that 450,000 now is your net sales, figure. Net sales. And that net sales, you put it where? At the last column, 450,000. So this is the first section. Very simple. Sales less returning was. If there was no returning was, then the sales would have come straight at the third column, 600,000. So we have determined our net sales. The next thing is to look at the cost of sales. Okay, I think there's a question. Please go ahead.
Sir, please, what is the first column is for?
So if you check the format, the first column becomes necessary where you have to do your calculation of the net purchases, right? Because the net purchases is adjusted at the first column so that you push it to the second column to add on to the opening stock. Please, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now that we have our net sales, the next is the cost of sales, which we all know we have to start with what? the opening stock. Opening stock. So the opening stock should be at the middle column. So let's go to the question and check the opening stock. Professors, what is the opening stock and how much is it? Yes, Prof. Bright, I don't know if your network is okay now. I see Austin, Akoli, I see. Prof. Aseda, I think you can assist us in this one. What is the opening stock? Prof. Aseda. I hope you can see the question. There's a question. So what is the opening stock? I think I said this network.
I think that's the 180,000.
Exactly. Beautiful. That's the 180,000. How? Use the date. The date will always guide you to the stocks, right? So the date is 1st January and opening stock is the stock at the beginning and 1st January is the beginning. Thank you, all other professors. I'm sure you wanted to say so. So you bring in that. In fact, let me acknowledge how you people are eager to contribute. Continue like that. When you do that, I'm so happy. I want to teach you everything too, Now, after bringing the opening stock, the next thing you do per the format is to add on your net purchases. But you have to go and assess your net purchases, which is purchases add carriage inwards less return outwards. So you always need to check the question. We have our purchases here, right? Do we have return outwards? Yes. What of carriage inwards? No. So we only have the purchases and return outwards. So look at how we go about it. So we bring in the purchases, and because of the return outwards, we put the purchases here. Let me check. The purchases price is 450. So 450,000. Then you less the return outwards, which in the question is 20,000. So you push it here. 20,000. Okay. There's no carriage inwards, so you don't add any carriage inwards. So you deduct it, and we know that is going to give us our net purchases. 450 minus 20, that will be 430,000. Okay, so you have your opening stock, you now have your net purchases. What do? You add them. And when you add them, what do you get? You get the cost of goods available. Cost of goods available for sale. Which is going to be, if my arithmetic is okay, that should be 610,000. Okay. So you see, put your opening stock here and go and do your net purchases and bring it. Add it to get the cost of goods available. After that, what do? You less your closing stock. So let's go and check the closing stock. Prof. Bridget, what is our closing stock? Prof. Bridget.
It's 160,000.
Thank you very much. 160,000. As you see here, 31st December, that's the stock. So go in there and less your closing stock. $160,000. So if you less that, you get your cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold. Now again, when you get to this point, you have to be careful because the last thing you need after you have gotten your cost of goods sold, right, is to add your trading expense. So you always have to check the question for the trading expense. If there is no trading expense, please, I'm repeating, if there is no trading expense, then your cost of goods sold should come straight under the last column, because then your cost of goods sold will be your cost of sales. Okay, so let's check the question if we had wages in there. And the answer is yes, we had wages of 40,000. So we go and add that 40,000 to it. Okay, so cost of goods sold, because we have 8 wages to add, 610 minus 160. Professors, what are we getting? Is it 450?
90.
Okay.
No, that is 50.
150.
150. Okay. Hey, please wait. Yes, it's 450, right? Hey, 550. 550. Sorry. Okay, so that is it. After getting this cost of goods sold, you add your trading expense. So add trading expense, and straight away is wages. So add wages, and the wages is 40,000. So you add it to it. So if we add to it, now we come at a figure of 590 cedis. This 590 cedis is your cost of sales. So you put it at the last column, 590,000, right? And you do the subtraction. So our net sales is 450,000. Yes, Portia has a question. Portia, hold on. Our net sales is 450,000. Our cost of sales is 590. So what are we getting? Are we getting a profit or a loss? Hey, please, the calculation, sorry, 610 minus 160 is 450. So this should be 490. Thank you. Yeah, thank you I think that's what Portia wanted to correct. Thank you, Portia. So are we getting a profit or a loss? A profit or a loss? A profit, right? I didn't get that one. Or I think the network chop them.
Please the question again.
So our net sales is 450,000. Our cost of sales, as we have all calculated together, is 490. So are we going to get a gross profit or a gross loss?
It's gross loss.
Thank you very much. Gross loss, because the sales is lesser, right? So we are going to get a gross loss. So write gross loss and put the figure down there. And that is 450 minus 490. Is that 40? It should be 40, eh? 40,000.
Yes, please.
Yes. And that is all. You are done with your trading account. Simple. So you see that it's very simple, eh? But if they leave you to do it alone, that's where you begin to. But it's simple. Just understand it. Get your net sales. Okay, Kujo has a question. Kujo, let's hear you.
Say, please, I have a question concerning the format.
Okay.
Say, please, what do you add to get cost of goods sold?
Okay, so for the cost of goods sold, we didn't add, we rather subtracted the closing stock from the cost of goods available. Now, I've seen something in the chart. In some of your books, you see something like this, COGAS. Okay, more or less like an abbreviated version of cost of goods available for sale. Please, I always tell my students, write it in full. It won't kill you than going for this COGAS. It is accepted, but I personally don't recommend that to my students. Write it in full. It will not waste your time. Okay. So if you see COGAS in your books, that's what it means. Cost of goods available for sale. But to Kujo, The cost of goods sold is actually what you had available minus your closing stock. Okay. Any other questions? Any further questions? Okay, so since my professors seem to be comfortable with the format, we come to the area which is close to my heart, and that is getting my professors to also try their hands on one question. So you know that we have some 15 minutes to the end of the class. So professors, this session will end in the next minute. When it ends, we will join with the first session details, okay, to have this test. Please, currently I have 8 students in class. I want to see all the 8 students in that class to do this exercise. So you do it in your exercise book or notebook. You take a picture and send it to your accounting private page, okay? And so I think with all of you here, the only person will be Aseda. So Aseda, you created a WhatsApp page, you add your parents and you add me. So after the exercise, you take a picture and send it to that page for me to mark for you. The name of the group should be Form 2, Form 2, FA for financial accounting. Prof, then you add your surname, Owusu Ansah. So it will
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it will be F2, FA, Prof, Owusu Ansah. Okay. So professors, let's join the final session. Okay, go and use the first details to join, and then we'll do the exercise together. Thank you.